I just, I mean, it's everything's gone out the window.
Literally, right? It's
It
just
has.
it's been a bit of mixed up energy this morning. Apart from the time and it's like I just came back from a few days away, and it's like now trying to get used to being in the city again. So,
Oh, you got away from the city. How was that?
well, yeah, yeah. So, it's coming back into from complete nature to sort of to the city and trying to readjust. So, yeah. But no, I did finally get to go. We finally got to go for a few days, so I'm very thankful for that.
Was that everybody, all the citizens were able to leave? Was something lifted?
Well, that is the question. However, something has lifted because the regional areas have been opened up.
Mm.
So, so yeah, so we are allowed to travel, but to be completely honest, the rules are so ambiguous that you know what, nobody knows. And I honestly think that any fellow New South Wales person would say the same, that nobody actually knows what
But
what is going on. But we took the opportunity and we just went.
wow, that's an ambiguous answer from an ambiguous mandate. I wonder how long it's going to be before. God, what was it? I saw thousands of people in Melbourne this past weekend, and
Yeah.
Italy the same. They're like they're making the mandates and they're just ignoring them.
Well, yeah, and
That's in Europe. I mean, I don't know about Australia. I
well,
think.
it's the same. I mean, technically in Sydney, we're in out of lockdown.
Hmm.
However, it's only for the people that
Oh, yeah.
yeah. However, when you read the first paragraph, it says one thing that we could go. So we just stopped there and off we went.
Well, that's what I noticed. I went to the Australian travel department or whatever.
Yeah, like a travel advisor or something.
Yeah, I went there looking. This is a few weeks ago, looking around for just different things that would affect Morgan or you know us of her leaving or whatever. And I noticed that. I noticed that they would say one thing. Like I remember seeing something that said, and I'm just going to make it up. I think I'm close, but it was something like you must have a vaccination in order to do this. And I think it had to do with travel. And then it said later, like two paragraphs down, it said, and if you are non vaccinated, then you've got to do this and this, which was ultimately the same thing. It just, and then today in America, they had something and it said, I was just, I don't even know where I saw this because I don't know, but it said that I was reading it, that our borders were open again if you're
In the
vaccinated.
US.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, well, that's the first I've heard of that. But see, we're having mandates here. We have 50 states. 12 of the states are suing the government. You know,
For unlawful like breach of rights.
yes, they're suing the federal government because they're saying that the private workplace mandates are illegal.
They
And
are. They're unlawful.
yeah, and not only that, but then we've got people that are just they're not abiding by it. It's really weird because like I was looking at the National Basketball Association, I just saw something on that, and they just came out and said now in order to play for the what was it, in order to something you had to have a third one round three.
Booster, the booster, and
Yeah,
then the fourth one, and then the fifth one,
yeah,
and
and so people were like, "Wait a minute," So I mean, it's really weird. And then I just watched Patricia Cota, what's her name? Patricia Cota
um,
Robles. Patricia
yeah,
Cota
yeah,
Robles. she comes out with a weekly video, and they're nice. They're like 15 minutes, and and she speaks a different language than I might speak, but I get the energy of it. And what she was saying, what she was saying was, hey, these next two months, just stay in your power. And then
Yeah.
she was saying that everything is dismantling. Like, it's, even if you don't see it, it's dismantling, and the new templates are in place. And again, this is her language. I might say it a little differently,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. And come 1st of January, new game, new ball game.
I
I
hope
mean,
so. I hope
it's
so,
yeah.
because we've pretty much had enough here. And honestly, I don't know whether you call it a download or whether you call it just like a thought, but I'm wondering whether Australia was like a test case to sort of see
I'm
how
sure.
far
I'm positive it was.
how far they could push the envelope,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's, and then so what's been happening here is they've reduced more restrictions as of yesterday for the vaccinated,
Hmm.
but then increased put back, like delayed freedom
Hmm.
for the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. And we'll get off the subject, but I mean, this is all no mistakes. So I'm watching a video last night of a program called Pat McAfee, which is normally a sports talk show. Well, they have Aaron Rodgers on there, and Aaron Rodgers was the most valuable player in the National Football League last year. I don't watch football, but I just keep
I can't
tabs
say
on
I
it.
do either. Yeah.
But what he did was he's probably one of the top three most prominent players in the league, right? And he's refused to take the vaccine.
Right.
So I didn't know this, but he was talking because he's getting all this bad press. They're calling him selfish and all the stuff that they do, right?
Mass
Well,
murderer. Yeah.
he came out and was explaining what the protocols were if you had a vaccine or you didn't. And he was talking about he's tested every day at 5 o'clock in the morning. When he goes in to the facility for practice, if you've been vaccinated, you're only tested every 2 weeks. If you haven't been, you're tested every day. And if you haven't, and if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask.
Right.
But if you have, now this is just in the workout facility, right? So
Right.
he'd been tested I think something like 500 times. That makes sense because that'd be about 500 days, right?
Well, every
500
day.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd been tested 500 times. He tests positive. So he goes to the protocol. And the protocol is he has to have 10 days of clear
Quarantine.
testing, where if you're vaccinated, you only have to have 2 days. He said, "No, this is crazy because I'm already being, I have to wear a yellow wristband in the facilities, which marks you as different than everything." He said, "I've only been around vaccinated people for these 500 days. So I got it from the vaccinated people." And he said he was actually going through the process of learning and researching. He hired some people. They put a 500-page report together. These are like Harvard MDs and just different people.
Yeah.
And he said that he actually thought, because he was appealing his decision, they were whatever they told him he couldn't do whatever. He
Yeah.
was appealing it. And he thought he was going to win, but then he said the establishment's representatives told him that vaccinated people cannot catch the disease or transmit it. And he
Wow.
knew in that moment that it was all a bunch of bullshit. He goes, "Oh, you know what? They're just stringing me along. They've already made their mind up." And he was right. So I think the whole point is it's getting so loud
Mm.
that people are just not going to say okay anymore.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point that it's that ludicrous
Hmm.
that it's actually making people think. which is what we want, which is
Yeah.
what we've all been praying for, you know?
Yeah.
So it's and I'm hearing that from both sides of the story.
Yeah. And there's no science in it. There's no science in it. It's just crazy. Crazy.
It's just crazy. So yeah.
And I think it's also showing people the biases in the media, how ridiculous they are. Because like here, when Trump was president, and I don't have any political affiliation, and that was at the end of his presidency, he was saying be open to the vaccines, be open.
Be
We're
open.
working on them, and
Mhm.
the media was saying you're crazy, and the
Yeah,
Democrats, to which Biden's a Democrat, the Democrats were saying you're crazy, right?
yeah.
But as soon as they get in, they say the same thing, right? So like it's just
Then it's okay, right?
yeah, it's just crazy. It's just like ridiculous, stupid, totally stupid.
It
But
is.
so you said that the last what few weeks? Oh, you said today. How are so we talked about 6 weeks ago.
I think it was the 12th of October.
Okay, so we talked right in the middle of because it was the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th.
Yeah.
And
The energy of
something like it was almost like a suspended animation. Then we came out of it and it was like explosion. And then that
yeah.
integration or whatever you want to call it. But I really felt like, maybe it was the 13th. I don't know the exact day, but I was like, wow, we're done. Like it's here. There's no more waiting. It's done. Like Patricia Robles was saying in
Yeah.
that video today, you might not see it, but it's done. It's happening. The deconstruction's happening. And she did in her video, by the way, just talk about what I always say, which is, the Zen proverb, let go or be dragged. But she was saying, do you want to have it easy or do you want to have it difficult? That's all that's
Yeah.
being decided now, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we're definitely being tested, like tested those ones that are, holding the line as such, those of us that are, we're being so incredibly tested and like it's like, okay, are you going to stick to it? Are you going to stick to your guns?
Yeah.
And like honestly, and I say this to a few people that I have not stuck to my guns really about a lot of things in my life, but this is something I'm sticking to my guns about.
Yeah.
And even though, there's the temptation and the travel thing is what's getting me more so than anything else. I mean, we can't even leave Australia if we're not vaxxed.
You
So
can't even leave your house in parts of Australia
yeah,
if you are vaxxed. I know they've changed some of that recently, but that's pretty crazy
yeah,
considering and again, we're beating a dead horse, but I mean, the whole point is it's almost like when you hear or you read about shamanic interactions. Like if somebody meets a shaman in a book or a story, like they play a joke on them until they get that it's a joke. Like
yeah,
it's a test basically.
yeah, yeah. It's
Like
the lesson, right? Yeah.
yeah, so maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm glad to hear that it's happening even if we're not seeing it.
Well, the other thing she said, and I've heard this before, but I've always felt it in my own, like when I used to get on and do a lot more remixes and just solos and play music, and the words just came out of my mouth. That was just my own playing around. But it was, when we do that stuff, it is channeling.
Oh,
Talking is channeling,
absolutely.
and
The joke's on us because we think we're playing.
exactly. But I used to say this has never been done before. Like this has never been done in such a dense realm as this.
No.
And she said something in that 15-minute video like that. She said this has never been done before. She used different words. She says it's never been done before in whatever word she was using, which she was
Yeah.
just basically talking about similar, like under these circumstances, we have never done this before. That really resonates with me.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes me proud of us,
It
you know?
it does, and I mean, after all, we chose to be here in this time, right? But, it's
That's what
like
they tell us.
that's what yeah, and it's like, "Really? Did I not read the fine print?"
Mm,
Um, but yeah, it's like I said, it's like I've never really there's only been a few things that I've really stood up for in my life. I mean,
mm,
apart from not having a voice for so many, feeling like didn't have a voice for so many years. But like, I feel like we have to stick with it, and
yeah,
the level of testing, challenging that we've been thrown at. But like, do you believe it? Do you have faith? Are you going to surrender? Are you going to
yeah,
believe the universe has your back? Or are you going to slip into the old pattern? So it's sending the temptation in, and then saying, okay, no, the temptation is I'm not going to take it. I'm not taking that road. I'm standing. This is what I've come here for, and
yeah,
it's our authentic self.
yeah. I agree. And there's I don't know about you, but there seems to be something right there
Yeah,
that totally take like a quantum leap that like takes you into a totally different world. It's like going into a dream or something.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we've had, we all had, I know Morgan and I, we've talked about some of the things that we've experienced. And I'm not going to go into details. I'm sure we're going to jump on sometime this week and talk about it. But I had this thing, I think it was Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. Uh, and I got off this show. And as soon as I got off the show, I knew I needed to go lay on the couch. So I laid on the couch. Now it's the middle of the afternoon and I felt something. Now, this doesn't mean exactly this is what's happening. I'm just trying to make a point about being on this close to something otherworldly, right?
yeah.
That's at like we're gonna wake up and be in a different, you know what I mean, like something like that. So I laid down. And I thought the weirdest thought. I go, my divine feminine wants to integrate with me. That's what I said to myself, and
Oh
I
wow.
like, what the f are you talking about? So I laid down and nothing really happened at first except for that what I just said. It just felt like it felt all yummy and stuff, like I was just
Yeah,
feeling like.
like
And
that warm
then
fuzzy feeling.
yeah, and then I started to think about Morgan, okay? And all this stuff started happening. So like 45 minutes later, she sent me a message because a lot of times when we're when we reach each other, we'll be, hey, let's get on the video. Let's have a camera. And I before she could say, oh, she asked me to do something. Could you do this for me? Something for me. And I said, yeah, but I'm not going to do anything because I'm integrating my divine feminine, right? I just wrote that to her. And she goes, I know for the last 45 minutes, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah. How did you know? And so she's
Wow.
like describing everything that I was doing,
That is amazing. So much
right?
magic, just
So,
magic.
like it's something about the light body or I don't know, there's something going on that if we do what you're saying, which is to not quit, not give up, not I don't think we can anyway. Like once it starts, you can't go
Like we're
back.
gonna be allowed to, right? Like as
Mm,
if we're gonna be allowed to.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah. I have to say for myself, probably the last while I was away and in that nature space and like that peace, I that lucid dreaming thing was like off the chart. And I think on Sunday night I may have left, like, consciously aware of leaving my body and then coming back into it, but I don't remember anything. Like, I
Really?
remember that I was dreaming. I remember, like, in that moment, it was real and clear, but when I wake up, not
Yeah.
a thing.
But
I know
doesn't
it
it?
was profound, but I don't know what it was.
But that's something people have been talking about, and and some people remember. Like I haven't remembered mine for a week, but prior
Yeah.
to that, it's 4 a night. I remember all of them, right? But there's
Wow.
something about the um I don't want to say seamlessness, but there's more cohesion, or there's more carryover or transfer over into our conscious awareness, even if we can't remember the details. And that and I think it has something to do again with what we might call the light body, like you were
Yeah.
saying, because I had one night about 5 nights ago, and on 3 different occasions within, it seemed like, when you're sleeping, it seems like 5 minutes, but in three times as I was in bed sleeping, so to speak, I my eyes just opened like that, right? Like somebody
Wow.
just came and stirred me, because what happened was I felt my body leave. So
Mm.
I opened my eyes because I wanted to see where I was. And I was shocked. I literally was shocked because I was in my room. I thought, wait a minute. And even one time I had this ball in my hand and I threw it. And I opened my eyes immediately and I knew I'd see my hand out here, but I didn't. It didn't move.
It
So,
didn't. Yeah.
yeah, so there's something about that too.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because I think I must have done the same because for
Mm,
me to have a recollection of I left my body, I must have opened my eyes or on some other level felt it, but then I must have forgotten that I opened my eyes and then didn't know, like when I woke up. But it's like it's nuts. It's just nuts. And I sort of kind of figure, well, I'm not meant to remember it, so it is what
mhm.
it is, and I'm just blessed to have
Yeah,
that experience, even if I can't put it into words. And it's probably because it doesn't belong in our dense 3D,
no,
consciousness. It belongs in a higher frequency, and this in and out of the multidimensionals that we're going through, and all of that. So it makes total sense. I mean, I used to ages ago say, oh damn, I wish I could remember what it was, because I was really curious and really wanting to know. But now I realize, well, you know what, it is what it is. And
I think the whole not knowing is another thing that's, I don't want to say being forced on us, but it's another thing that's happening no matter what. Like it's
yeah,
just something you just have to let go of. Because that
absolutely.
really doesn't just include like the lucid dream, it includes how we woke up, what divine episodes happened to us, what
Yeah,
past lives do we remember, or
yeah,
and then not that those aren't valid, but that like in this space that we're in, it doesn't help you. It's not going it's going to keep you from being present, I guess is what I'm
that's
saying.
right. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not about. I mean, we've all done so much work on our past and our trauma and all of that. And I've remembered several past lives, and they've been instrumental in
Hmm.
healing for me, in putting the dots together and figuring it all out and making sense about everything that's happened in this lifetime based on what's happened in the last one. But for the majority of this year, my guides have not been showing me much in terms of future. It's
Yeah.
it's like, and I think it is a push for us to be present, be now. Don't We're
Yeah.
not going to show you too much because you're going to be overwhelmed. So
I
we'll just
agree.
feed you. We'll just drip feed you for enough so that you're able to function in the present moment and do what you're meant to be doing in the present moment. But
Barely.
barely, but
Right.
barely. I totally agree. But we're not going to give you anything more. Like,
Hmm. Yes, I
and
was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "I do 5 emails and 1 meeting a day. That's all I can do." And I'm thinking, Jesus, you do that much? It's like everything's such a big deal.
yeah.
Going to the store is a big deal. Writing an email is a big deal. It's crazy. Go
Well,
ahead.
that means that we can't go to the store. Like, we can only go to supermarket. We can't go to any retail shop. So that's taken that energy out for me.
Mm.
So that's all good. And the amount for me, it's been a lot of physical, like draining type of energy, like, not feeling like you can function. So it's just really, and it's been a lesson for me as well about, what, don't push when you can't do it.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
know, and that's also a pattern that I've been brought up with, about you've got to work hard, you've got to keep
Yeah.
doing things all the time. Like, even if you're falling asleep at your laptop, you've got to keep going, force it, and all that. And it's been a big lesson for me to learn, okay, if I don't feel up to it and I feel like I'm falling asleep, then you know what? Just go and have a nap. Because you're not
That's
going to be productive anyway. Like,
that's what I just did when we had the time when I had the time messed up, and you're like, "You want to go on now?" I'm like, "No, I want to go lay down." I needed it, you know.
yeah, well, that's good. And it all worked out because we had work being done next door and they were being really noisy. So again, thank you, universe, because it's conspired for the right timing.
Yeah, yeah. There's no forcing. There's
No.
no forcing, and there's something about um, there's like you can't no expectations, but you keep like okay. So Morgan and I are trying to be together, so we're taking steps, not getting caught up in, oh my God, this is obstacle and that obstacle and this obstacle and that obstacle. We just take a little step, but we don't have, but we understand not to have any uh, expectation
Yeah.
on how it's going to happen or when or anything, but knowing it's going to happen, which is
Yeah.
weird, right?
Yeah. Weird, especially when you're a control freak, or you've got a little bit of control issue and you need to um let go a bit of that control and surrender. So yeah, it is. It's not having the expectations, and it's another big lesson I've had to work on, because it's you know the biggest source of disappointment, biggest source of pain, when you have expectations and they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
You believe people will treat you in a certain way, or you believe that something will happen in another way, or and it's letting go of that how or when, just knowing that it will be. Boy, has that been a big lesson for me.
yeah. There's something about it. There's something about, we were talking before this show, and it was like we were just talking about yesterday. And I'm like, I got this thing yesterday, and she said the same thing, that she had gotten the same thing, which was basically, and again, this is kind of more of a metaphor or a description of the pattern or the occurrence than it is the literal part. Although I'm
Yeah.
sure there's meaning to it. And it was like I kept getting this message like, don't attach to the body,
Mm.
but you're going to be in the body. And I'm like, what?
How does that work?
And I
Yeah.
said to her, I go, do you understand what I'm saying? And she said, that's exactly what I got. But it was something to do with like, don't attach to the egoic part of your relationship with the body,
Yeah.
but you're going to be in the body, and, you know, don't see it as a body. In other words, see it as the core of your essence, like the temple that it is,
Yeah,
without
the
getting,
temple, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, this stuff that's, but yeah, I was excited to see Patricia Robles, that video, because I don't really attach to people's stuff, but I do notice the a convergence of people's uh, information. Like there's a lot of convergence. Like since we talked, Franco transitioned, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at his stuff and you look at a few other people's stuff, including hers, it's all coming together. Even Matthias De Stefano, I've been
Yeah.
watching him on Gaia Initiation, that series, and that when he talks about dates and he talks about 2024, councils will be governing the world. Like that's a big, and Franco said the same thing. So, and Patricia talked about something not exactly the same, but alluded the same type of
All the same.
trajectory.
Yeah.
So think about where we're at and where that is, and all of the transformation that would take place before or up. I mean, that's just like whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what, like 2 years away, a bit over 2 years away. And you think, wow, I mean, given everything that's happened just in 2020 and this year, then how, it's going to have to transform really, really relatively quickly to have the situation that we have now, and then to have councils in 2024. I mean, it's a relatively short amount of time.
That's what I mean. But then there's the other thing, time, you know.
Time.
Time
Time
is
is
like,
illusion.
time is very, very weird. And I've seen different people describe it, saying that our days are now 12 hours, or whatever the case is. But yeah. And it's funny too, because watching all the different narratives fall on their face. Seriously, all the narratives.
I totally, I
You know what I
totally get.
mean? Like nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what
No,
it's going to.
no, nobody knows. And of course they're going to fall because there's no substance. And as there's no substance, more and more no substance coming out, people are going to question, and people are going to wake up and start to realize what's going on. And then I think it's just going to be really rapid, like, after that happens.
Well, everything's gotten more and more rapid, hasn't it?
Like, it's just people waking up and getting flooded. Like, when I had my awakening, to me it was abrupt. But now that I've gone 8 years down the track, and I can see people waking up and seeing what they're dealing with, and all of that, it shows to me how much it's accelerated now. And it has to be, because of what's going on in the world, and it's going to be, and there's going to be a lot of confused people that are not going to understand what is happening.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we have to hold space.
Yeah, and I saw somebody came on. Oh no, I was watching Pete Evans over there in Australia.
Oh, right, yeah.
I noticed too, we're getting a hell of a lot of what do you call them?
And
Trolls.
oh,
We've been getting more and more over the last couple of weeks, which is great. We
right.
welcome the energy to transform it. But I was watching Pete Evans, and he was again talking in a different nomenclature, a different type of speak, as far as the words went, but the energy was the same. And he was talking about that, and he was saying to the guy that he was talking to that a lot of people have that there's not been enough emphasis on the individual expansion that people are going through and all that brings to the table. And he was saying that something else. He was saying that there would be a lot of people who would need to look at them, who would need to lean on them, because there was kind of like almost like a bigger group that was going to wake up, that's going to kind of be in like a shock, something like that. And these people that have raised their frequency, and Pete Evans, I'm not that familiar with him. He's been on the show before, but I understand he's really, really popular over there. He's very well known in Australia. And, to hear him saying that kind of stuff and say it in a place of neutrality was really impressive. I was impressed with it.
Yeah. He is. He can also be known to be a bit controversial here. So
Yeah.
So but he is quite well known. Yes, definitely. So, but yeah, I think, well, we only have to think about, like, when we woke up, the shock that it was to us, and it wasn't in the climate that we're in now on a global scale. So of course people are going to be, where do I go from here? What do I do? Who am I? Like, I think
Right.
the biggest question is going to be, who am I exactly?
Yeah. Well,
And
everything goes to everything. Well, that's where I always take pleasure in. What I take pleasure in is I know that every single thing will be revealed. Period. So
yeah,
that means nobody gets out. Nobody. There's no exceptions.
no, there's no free ticket. There's no, yeah.
So, uh, Put your seatbelt on. And I guess this is why the whole inner work thing is so advantageous because it clears you. It increases your frequency.
Yeah, and you start to balance like the light and the shadow. And until a lot of people are so afraid of the shadow, and I was afraid of the shadow. And in these times where you wake up, that's what comes forward. Like we all think that it's going to be all butterflies and dragonflies and unicorns and all that. Oh, I've just had my awakening, and then you sort of go from having that moment of bliss, and then you start going through the layers of healing, and you go, and then you start seeing things come to your face that you've either blocked or not wanting to know about yourself.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people need support when that happens, because they just don't know.
It's a scary thing.
It's like freaking scary. It's like, especially if it's something that you're not used to being around, like because of culture or religion or society or whatever. Especially if everything that you've been told, that everything that will just forget it and just start from zero. Like, you how can you not lose your feet? Like you lose grounding, and then you think, oh God, what am I gonna, where am I going? What am I going insane? Am I going crazy? I definitely felt that when I had mine.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: when you were able to leave, and you went to, I guess you went out. You guys went out to nature, like
Yeah, just
like
down to the South
how
Coast.
to the South Coast. So, like, I mean, like, how did that make you feel?
Oh, well, it made me feel amazing. And honestly, it doesn't matter what part of nature you can get in, even if it's just a little park down the road from you,
Hmm.
you need to do it. Because look, I'm a Capricorn, and I'm two earth signs. Moon and sun are both earth signs. So for me to like get some sort of traction
Yeah.
and to be, centered, I have to be in nature. So, and we're very blessed that we have that opportunity. And it was, being, and also the ocean. For me, I'm just like a water baby. Like I've always loved the ocean, and not being able to see the ocean for like 5 months, 4 or 5 months,
Wow.
I just had like a really yearning for it, and it made me realize again just how much yearning I have to be in nature, and it made me feel amazing. Like I was really feeling drained, and then as soon as we got out of the city and into the space, and we had beautiful like native Australian birds coming in, and we hand feed them, and I talk to them, and I've got this thing with birds. And seeing a duck family bringing in their ducklings, and like it's almost like they were showing them to us. And it's just this place of such compassion and peace, like in harmony, and just watching the water, and just watching the ebbs and flows, and just putting your feet on the sand, and having the water come in. It was like so amazing, such an amazing experience.
Who'd you go with?
My hubby,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
We've been married for what, 23, no, 1998. So what does that make it? 21,
Too long for me to count. I can't count anymore.
I was going, I can't think. Like I can't add up right now. 1998. So we got married. So yeah, so we and we're very lucky that, his mother has a house down there, so we're able to go into and stay
Sweet.
there. So, and we feed the ducks, and we feed the birds, and just take all nature in. So it's just it's just the simplicity, you know, just going back to, and I love it because as soon as you sort of start driving back to Sydney, you feel the, you feel the again. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, so it's really revived me, and you know, and I thought, okay, it's just giving me like a charge, you know, like a you know, there's been some things happening, you know, on a personal level, and then you get bogged down, and then you think, I feel like I can breathe when I go down there. Whereas when, like, you know, obviously you feel a little bit suffocated, and we don't live in the city, like we live out of the city in the suburbs, but still the atmosphere is completely different. We don't have all the, you know, we don't have all the ducks coming in. Obviously we don't have, you know, we do have some birds, but not the
Hmm.
not to that extent. So yeah, like it's just really, you know, I even tell my clients when they're feeling really confused or stuck, or you can't go on, or you just, you know, you're just in anxious, like you're just in an anxious state. Just go outside, and if you have a backyard, just put your feet on the grass and
Yeah.
just, or just stand
You know, you hear
and
people say that over and over, but it's
draw in.
actually, huh? It's
It's the
actually,
best thing.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but it's true.
I
Uh,
mean, everyone's different, but like, you know, some people connect to nature more than others. But
mm,
honestly, just sit there, and you know, you might think you're crazy, but talk to Mother Earth and ask her to nourish you and to hold you and to, you know, to help you.
I agree. I mean, I'm like you. I talk to the birds, the trees. I mean, I don't care what people think. And how many of us here talk to ourselves? Technically, from the 3D view, that we talk
We're
to ourselves.
talking to ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we all do it.
we all do.
So in this period since we last talked, which is roughly 30 days, it's been a very, very well. It's been the most impactful 30 days
Intense. Yeah, it's
since
been intense.
we, yeah. But like, have you been seeing clients? And if you have, like, what's been going on with them? Has there been like, hey, could you detect it with them as well?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few. I've seen a few that are sort of wanting, like coming to a point and they don't know what to do going forward. Like like, I need some help, I need some guidance, I need some direction. And it's interesting because a few of them have been, you know, I've been able to guide them and support them, and help them put the pieces together about some patterns that they brought in from past lives that, you know, that are making them stuck, that they're actually stuck in that, and it's something they need to work on for them to move. But it's like there's like an urgency to work on your stuff,
Yeah.
like work on the stuff that is from your past, whether it's from your past in this incarnation or other ones, because we're trying to get you ready.
Yeah.
We're trying to get you ready. So just surrender, acknowledge it, get the help if you need it. And, you know, I had a client that had a huge breakthrough through some information that came out during the session about a past life that she had.
Now, is this a regression that you're doing?
No,
But
um,
it's a, I mean, I know I look at what they do in QHHT and what they might call regression. I
yeah,
just see it as an energy session. You know, I mean, I don't. I think
yeah,
it's got a protocol, but are they when you do it like in these cases? Are you're how do you do that? I mean,
okay.
are they doing it and you set it up, or you that kind of thing?
Yeah, like I don't like the word regression really, because it,
Yeah,
to me, it's like it sort of
it
has connotation of going backwards,
and
whereas to
it
me,
gets confining too. It's
yeah, yeah,
confining.
it's restricting.
Mm.
So like when I do it, I either, if someone comes to me and they say to me, look, I really want to go into my past lives, the way I work with all my clients, regardless, is all intuitively. So I
Hmm.
receive the information, and then if they say to me, do past life work, do chakra work, do aura work, do numerology, do energy alignment, whatever, I just do what they tell me. So I've got like a box of tools, and then, you know, they tell me, okay, use that.
Mm.
So in regards to past lives, if someone comes to me, I really want to go through a past life, I tune in and I ask, do you want them to be involved, or do you want me to go into their energy and get the visions or the information, which does happen with past lives. Sometimes I'll get the vision or the information without going into any sort of meditation, and then I'll pass it on to the person. Or does the person want to be involved? And then I'll take them through a meditation, and we'll go through a meditation together. So to me, with regression, it's more like hypnosis. That's my understanding of it. Whereas the way I don't do that, like I either go through and we do a healing session together, and the person is absorbing the energy, and then I'll receive the visions, or I'll get I'll get told what to tell them. Or if their guides say to me, okay, they need to be involved, and the person is happy to be involved, then we'll go through a guided process together where they'll be able to receive the information and I'll be able to receive information. But one thing that I really believe is that, and I'll say this from my own experience, your guides will only show you what you're able to handle.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They won't show you anything that you're not ready to handle, or if you're not ready, they will show you nothing.
And on the thing with the past lives, so I look at everything that's presented. This is how the information's presented. So I don't get caught up in, is that true? Was that real? Was I really that person? Or and I'm not that it's not cool and interesting and relevant, but I get more about what's being told to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was wondering, like in your experience, like in what I've come across with myself and even like interacting with other people, it seems like that a lot of the stuff that preoccupies us here is actually not regulated to this lifetime. It's actually a continuation of an ongoing thing that's culminating in this life, right? I mean, has that
Absolutely.
been your experience?
Absolutely. And absolutely, it's been, I've been able to tap in. I've been able to they have shown me my past lives so that I can understand why I am like I am in this lifetime.
Right.
And again, why I have experienced a lot of the things I've experienced in this lifetime, because I've come back to heal it and to clear it and to stop the pattern.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. And I'm glad you brought the other thing up too, because some of what you pick up on too is like a common characteristic of you, right?
Yeah.
Like in your case, like a healer, right? Like there's like this common thing going on. And
like for example, with my being a healer, I didn't know of these gifts that I had until my awakening, and then obviously I had opened up and I was able to receive them, and wasn't real happy at first, but wasn't really accepting of them at first, but it's like, what?
Well, it's a little mind blowing. It's a little mind blowing. It takes
just a little bit mind blowing.
Yeah.
But just to give an example of how they'll show you what you need to know in that moment, and if you're open to go in and willing and ready. The first past life energy session, or whatever you want to call it, session that I had, I actually went with my husband, and my husband was willing as well. So
really?
Yes.
So is he like you? I mean, does he?
No. Well, yes and no.
I mean, does
he's
he?
more like me than what he wants to admit.
Okay, I got you. I'm always interested about those couples like that. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no,
Keep going.
he's actually I think you call them physical therapists in
Okay.
the US, in the
Okay.
US. Yeah, he's a physiotherapist, but very much into what I do and totally supportive. So I'm very, very
Wow.
blessed.
Very cool. So what happened? You guys both went to this
So
thing?
we
Y'all
both went. We
were you
both went.
both having it done, or was it
Yeah,
just you?
well, it was a group session
Okay, I
and
got
never
you.
been before. Neither of us. Neither of us been before. We came up. It was at the place where I learnt my Reiki, and I said, "Let's go." And he goes to me, "Yeah, let's go. Let's go, give it a go." And there was always a bit of doubt, I guess, some skepticism. Anyway, long story short, it was a group session. There was probably 10 people in the session, and again, the person was guiding, similar to what I do, like through a meditation, like go into your space, imagine these steps, go in, and all this accord and all this. Everyone has a different way to do it, but it was a meditation, and we're both sitting next to each other, and we went in, and it felt like it was like 2 hours. It felt like it was like an hour, and it felt like it was 5 minutes. And then you're guided into this space, and I went into a space in a courtyard in perhaps medieval time, where I could see what I was wearing. I was wearing a brown like tunic. I was in a courtyard. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of noise, a lot of screaming. Well, I was actually being executed that day for being a sorceress.
Go figure that.
Go figure. And I was shown that I was hung. I was shown the gallows. I was shown everything. Shown the courtyard. Saw the people cheering. Saw all of that clearly, as if it was right here in front of my face. So after the first, the guy that was leading it said, "Who wants to share?" And nobody wanted to share. And he goes, "On this side of the room, you guys were really intense." And I said, "Okay, yeah, all right, I'll share. I'll just share." And my husband's sitting next to me, and he's going,
He should
and
know better by now.
oh no, it gets better. And then he said to me, he goes, and I described about I was being hung, and I said, "Oh my goodness, this makes so much sense, because that's why I was so reluctant to accept my gifts as a healer, because I was executed, like persecuted,
Yeah.
and then I was a healer, but I was called a witch and on all that went on during those times." And then he went to my husband and he said to him, would you like to share? And like my husband's sitting there in shock, and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, all I can say is I saw the same thing as her."
Wow.
And like thinking, "What?" And he goes, and the guy goes, "Okay, this has never happened before in any of my sessions."
Wow.
And I'm going, "What did you see?" And he says, "I saw a woman dressed in exactly the same brown tunic." He says, "I couldn't see her face." He says, I could see that she was being led to be executed." He was a child of about 14 years old, he said. He was in the same courtyard, same to the point where we were, arches, the architecture, everything was the same. And he said, "But they didn't show me your face. They didn't show me who I was." He says, "I was pushing a cart selling fruit, in the courtyard, like it was like a square, and I was selling fruit." He says, "But I was really, really sad, and I was really, there was a lot of sadness there, So of course, our both heads are going, they're spinning, trying to, figure out what this all is. We didn't figure it out straight away that night, but later on, we figured out that he was actually my son and watching me being executed.
I have a feeling that a lot of the connections that, well, some of the significant connections that we have in this life have been
Oh,
over,
without
have been people that are over and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, the soul family, like, the primary soul family, that we reincarnate with the same people, but we switch genders, we switch
Mhm.
positions, we switch. I mean, he was my son, and now he's my husband, and this was probably in the, I don't know, 16th century or something. And yet it made us under. I mean, it's taken us quite a few years to piece all the pieces together. Like, this was maybe 5 years ago that we had this experience, but
So he's lit. Especially somebody that be working on the body, like a physical therapist.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
just there's something about that you know what I mean? Like, there's something about that. You can't be like a closed up person, right? I mean,
no,
you're exposing yourself very directly to people's energy,
yeah,
and
and he's
you're
very.
there to transform. He's a transformer. He's
He is
with physical
in a
therapists.
different, in a
He's
different way. Yeah,
assisting people to transform. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, and it made sense that, I was his mother, I was a healer. I would think I was into herbs and all that type of stuff.
Of course,
But
yeah,
he's now in this lifetime, taken the role of a healer as well.
yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
just a repeat, but things change. So definitely, we reincarnate with the same people, and again, I was ready to receive that information, because at that time I was going through my training and, starting to uncover my mediumship and all my other gifts. And it was a case of, okay, you need to understand why you blocked this out as a child. You need to understand why, you know, this happened. You need to understand the dynamic between the two of you. You need to realize that, you were a mother in that lifetime to him, but you're not a mother in this lifetime to him. So any sort of triggers or characteristics of, control or anything like that have to be dealt with. So, it was an unfolding story, and I'm sure there's more to unfold. And this is just one lifetime. Can you imagine when we've had like multiple and multiple and multiple,
Hmm. Yeah,
how many aspects of ourselves
yeah,
that we
yeah,
will uncover?
yeah. I get that. I get the thing about the reluctance to take on the gifts, because I've seen that particularly women. I've seen that in a lot of women, and people, that they're hesitant to step up.
Yeah.
They're hesitant to be seen, because of the energetic implications of the previous incarnations. And then the other thing is, like, these relationships, we know, but we don't know. All we know is
Yeah.
this one. But there things happen. Like, I remember Morgan and I went through like 10 or 12 months, like, when we were together. Like, this is when we were traveling around, and it was weird because, like, we would take on different roles every week. Like, it was like I was getting to know her feminine in every capacity, like a grandmother, a mother, an aunt, a lover, a sister, a child. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
vice versa. So there's
Yeah.
something to that, right?
Oh, definitely.
There's something to that, like what you're talking about. You're not his
Mm.
mother in this life, uh,
Yeah.
so it's a total different dynamic that might, and you might have some of those previous experiences still coming to be aligned.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Because
yeah.
it's a lot of the information that I've received to assist me with understanding myself, or finding myself, have been through past lives. That's just my journey. It doesn't
Mm.
mean it's the same for everybody. So obviously, one gift that I was given was to be able to help people find their past lives, because it was such an important aspect of me understanding myself and finding myself, and understanding a lot about why I felt, resonance with some things, why I didn't feel resonance with other things, why I was drawn to certain people or certain places, or, really wanted to travel here or travel there, because we've experienced that before, and our
Yeah.
soul remembers. A body doesn't, but our soul remembers those memories.
Yeah. Yeah. This is getting good. It really is. So, when you connect, I might have asked you this last time. When you connect, do they ever just pop in, like, or do you have to say, "Hey, let me," you dial them up on the phone, or what? How's that work?
Well, yeah, they used to pop in at the start when
Yeah.
I to be completely honest with the mediumship, it was very overwhelming for me.
Hmm.
I I I would experience pain, like physical pain.
Really?
Yes, and it was I didn't understand. I was still like not. It was still at the beginning of my path, like my spiritual path, like awakening. And I thought, why am I experiencing this pain? Like I'd experience pain in my arm, or I'd experience pain in my leg, or I'd experience stomach pain, and my stomach would blow up, or pain around the sacral, or anywhere. This particular one time, I had really bad chest pain. And my husband said to me, "Oh my God, you're having a heart attack. I'm going to call the ambulance," and it was just at the beginning of my journey, like starting to tune in. And I said, "No, I'm okay." And he says to me, "No, you're not okay." But I was crippled, and it came instantly. Like I was sitting at my desk, and suddenly this shocking, stabbing pain came into my chest. I just got off the phone and I was fine like a minute before. And when it comes in quickly like that, I know now it's spirit, but I didn't know then, you
Mm.
know. But I did have some awareness because I said to him, "No, just give me 5 minutes." I said, "I feel like it's spirit and I
Yeah.
just need to connect." So he goes to me, "Okay, 5 minutes, that's it. If the pain hasn't gone, I'm going to call the ambulance, and I tuned in. And it happened to be my grandfather on my mother's side. And he said to me, "I'm here because your mother wants to connect with you, but she hasn't been over here for that long. So she doesn't know how. So I'm bringing the message in for her." And then I had pain around in my liver and all that. And I said, "Okay, can you stop the pain? Are you making the pain?" Like, me being all naive and all of this. And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Can you please stop it?" Because he actually died from organ failure.
That's
So
what I was going to say. Yeah.
he gave me the pain that he had, and
Yeah.
that was awful because it was excruciating, but it allowed me to recognize who he was.
Well, and the contact, it's like an anchor. Like,
It's like a I don't know what they call it, call. It's like a call,
yeah.
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 And yeah, so that was the way that I first used to start receiving the messages. I would receive pain, like when my uncle used to come in, because I've got a whole tribe on the other side. He used to give me like tingles around my neck, and it wasn't painful, but it was like, "Hey, I'm here. I need you to connect." So it was, when you say they popped in, yes, they just used to pop in, and I'd be anywhere doing anything, and I would
That's right.
feel.
Yeah. Because I talk to people, and over the years, and I just get a kick out of
Yeah,
how when
center
you're
and that.
getting, yeah, like when you're first getting acclimated, how disorienting, and
Oh,
just come,
it's
you
a
know what I mean?
total trip.
So I mean, like, do you want to connect now? Do you ever do that, like, in front of people, or do you just do it
Um,
in sessions?
Yeah, I do it in sessions.
Yeah, I
I
got you.
mainly do it in sessions. The only thing I do in front of people on lives, like I collaborate with a beautiful soul sister of mine, and we do live. We do a live every month.
Oh
We
yeah.
just did it just last Sunday, and we do readings for people. So
Oh
we
yeah.
channel,
So
and
you channel, yeah.
yeah, and there has been a few times when spirit has come in,
Hmm.
and there's a person of a loved one for the person
Yeah.
has come in and actually, given me a message to pass on. But in terms of like channeling mediumship, it's all pretty much the same in a
Yeah,
way.
I agree with that. I totally agree
Yes
with
and
that.
no, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone is coming particularly to me, look, I want to connect with this particular loved one. it doesn't. Look, I'm going to be honest. It doesn't always happen because the person may not be ready
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
connect.
there's something about that though. I mean, there is. I mean, I know from my own journey, the first couple years, and in talking to a lot of people, there seems to be a lot of that activity that's prevalent. Uh, that's a double, but it's prevalent in a lot of people's experience. Almost like some people are like a cosmic switchboard operator kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because they have a light or an antenna that can be
That's how
picked
it works.
up. Yeah, yeah. So it
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's
Right
how it
on.
works. That's how it was explained to me from my mentor. She said it's like people that are able to connect. I mean, we can all connect. I totally believe that. But some people have a light, and then
Mm-hmm.
spirit can connect with that light. But it comes with a lot of pros and cons, because you also get what we call maybe displaced souls. People that
Mm-hmm.
can't pass over,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also happened to me where they've connected with me, given me pain,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've gone in and I've talked to them, and they say, I'm stuck, I can't. And this is particularly prevalent in one case where I drove, and this was down the south coast. I drove past a site where a family had been killed in a car accident, and two of the family members didn't die instantly and were taken to hospital, and they were in a coma and all of that, and then eventually they transitioned. However, because it happens so suddenly, they become disorientated and they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And I was given the pain that poor girl experienced as we drove past that site. And mind you, I had no idea. I had no idea that an accident had happened there, or who it was, or whatever. And I just developed the pain. I went in and checked in, and it was this poor girl not knowing where to go. And she just needed some help to pass over, to go to the light, and to, accept what had happened to her, because she was still attached
Yeah.
to her physical body. So yeah, and then I just helped her, go over, and the pain
Yeah.
settled.
It's amazing because
It's pretty
again,
amazing.
like I can relate to some of that, especially in my early years, and then I've heard a lot of people talk about it. But if you take the linear time out, then it's almost like they did get in an accident. You were walking by, they said, "Hey, help
Right.
me," and you know what I
That's
mean. So I think that part of it, those types of things, are part of what we're stepping into, right? You know what I
right.
mean. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like if you talk to people like channelers, mediums, and such, and some of them will say, "I've got to," because they're up here, like, and we're here, and so like they've got to raise their frequency
Mm.
because like they're not going to come down here. You know what I mean? So what's
No.
happening is that some people have more of an aptitude or a talent or whatever, but it's like all of us together are moving it like that, right? Like everyone's moving into this space. Or if you listen to some people, it's some people are going to stay here and some people are going to go to the other earth. But what is that?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
gonna happen.
I've obviously heard that a lot, and again, to me, everything's a metaphor. But I don't know. It's I guess we're going to find out pretty soon. I don't think we're headed for it anymore. It's here, and
You think it's
uh,
already here? You feel
I
like
think
it's here?
absolutely I do.
Mm.
Absolutely, I think it's here. It's as it's as here as much as we buy into it. Just like we buy into
Yeah.
the programming, and now we've
Yeah,
woken
that's
up
true.
to it. We have a choice. We can either go, "Oh, let's go fight the programming," you know, and then guess what? We're going to be with the programming. Or we can say, "I get that. It served its purpose. Thank you for the role in my life. I'm going to stay with this frequency where all these other dimensions and frequencies are coming in." Like
Yeah.
these glitches that are occurring. Like you were talking about, you felt your body leave. I felt my body leave 3 times in one night. I've had other things happen. I mean, I'm able to travel
Yeah.
halfway across the world through my thoughts, and my wife is very aware of what's going on and who's doing it, you know? So like,
I mean, that's
right.
magic. That's
So yeah, I'd rather go that direction than get caught up in the story. God, we've had enough stories, right?
yeah,
Not that
yeah,
we can't go back and look at them, because I'm very, very interested in all the lives I've had and all the things I've done about, but that's all going to be there, you know,
and it
that's
will
all.
unfold when it's time, just the same
Yeah.
way it unfolded, like, with
Yeah.
me, and it's
Yeah.
not everybody's journey,
Yeah.
and some people don't need to go back
No.
to go
But I mean, like
forward.
when we get to the end of the road, so to speak, we're going to be able to have access to everything just like we do now. We're just a little bit, it's a little bit of a veil or whatever, but like I want to enjoy now. Like I want to enjoy, how am I going to make this happen?
Yeah, like,
What am I a part of? Like
yeah,
how
what's my part in it? Like,
like
what's my part? What piece am
yeah,
I, like, in this
seriously.
whole jigsaw puzzle?
Like I don't see
Absolutely.
things the same. I like, if tomorrow they said the whole world shut down, nobody can travel, I wouldn't go, "Oh my God, I'm never going to see Morgan." I'd go, seriously, I would. I'd go, "Okay, how's this going to work?
Yeah,
It's going to happen, right?
yeah,
Like whatever that is, whatever our heart holds is going to happen.
yeah,
It's
yeah, I
going to
totally
happen."
agree.
So like, so that's where I'm at. I'm like, you know, teleportation, bilocation, uh, alchemy,
Telepathic.
magic, creation. You know, I'm excited about all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not too caught up in the other stuff. Look,
No, neither am I,
it's
really, and
good
you
seeing
can't.
you. I didn't mean to keep you over, and I didn't mean
Oh,
to be
no,
late.
all good. It's been fantastic. It's been a really, really great to share the space with you again, Todd, so thank you
Yeah,
so much. I'm
it's good
so appreciative.
seeing you, and I really appreciate you coming back on. And
Pleasure. Thank you.
I hope that you get out and get out and about a little more often.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I've had my little fix of nature, so I'm a happy girl.
well, I hope you get to go out again. And best to you and your husband, and maybe you guys want to come on together sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll see him.
Ask him. Hmm?
He's not a video person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
No,
you
just say, ask
never
him if he
say
wants to
never.
come on and talk about your relationship, huh?
Never say never, right?
That's right. Ask him if he wants to come on and just tell him it's just a place where we have a conversation,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see if he
I
wants to
will.
come on. Because I mean, I think actually you guys probably have a lot of code to offer people. You know what I mean? Because just in a conversation, because
Yeah, yeah.
it's not easy being, you know, a lot of people think, oh, these relationships, da, 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 and I love mine. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not all, you know, it takes work, and
It takes work.
it's,
It takes a lot of
yeah,
work, and especially
yeah,
when you're shifting vibration and the dynamic completely changes, and that's what's happened in our relationship. For
that's
me
right.
being ill and then being like a dependent to
Yeah,
now me coming like
that's
leveling up.
right. Yeah, that's right. I remember the rest of your story now. Yeah, that's got to be a very, very special man. Very special.
I'm
But
very blessed.
that, you know, like begets like. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
see.
Todd.
Talk to
Thank you.
him. Talk to him. See what he says.
I will. Will
All right.
do.
We'll see y'all
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Bye.
I'm going to go lay down.